Hello and welcome to everybody on Cloud Fitness. So today's video is in continuation to my Azure Synapse Analytics Play series and this is part 10 in it. So in today's video, I am going to discuss a very important topic. So I do recommend watching this video 2 to 3 times in case you are not able to follow along. And this video might be a bit long because it involves a thorough theory session as well as a hands-on session. So I do recommend you to follow along with me. I assume that in case you are watching my previous video, you would already have your Synapse Studio account and you would actually practice along with me. And in case you haven't created, I do recommend creating your own Synapse account and practice along with me. So now in this video, we are going to see how we can use external tables to read external data using dedicated SQL pool as well as serverless SQL pool. Now for this video, I will restrict only to serverless SQL pool, but just for your understanding, external tables can be created using both dedicated SQL pool as well as your serverless SQL pool. But in this video, we are going to use serverless SQL pool, dedicated SQL pool. I'll make a video in the upcoming sessions. Now, just to make sure that we are all on same page, what are these external tables? This is very important thing before proceeding. So basically, when you talk about a typical table, what happens is your data is stored in a database, right? But when you talk about an external table, data is stored in files in an external stage. So when I say this, like I'll give the example that we are going to take now. We will have a Azure Data Lake account over here. We'll have a storage account. We will have files. We will have our data in form of files that can be CSV or that can be Parquet files. And then we are going to link our Azure Data Lake storage account to Azure Synapse, and we are going to create external table inside Synapse, but that external table will not hold any underlying data. We will query in Synapse using external table, but it will eventually go back to Azure Data Lake and fetch the data for us. So external table, they do not store any data. External tables store file level metadata. They will have the information about the file, such as your file name, your identifier, and the related properties of the file, but it will not have the data because the data is stored in the file in an external stage. So external stage here will be your Azure Data Lake, right? So basically this is a read only table. You do not have to perform any DML operations. However, you can create a view on top of these external tables. So I hope everybody is pretty much clear about external tables before proceeding. Now guys, when you talk about Synapse, there are two types of external tables that Synapse has. Your Hadoop external tables and your native external table. Now in this video, we are going to create native external table using your serverless SQL pool, just to make sure that you all know what we are trying to do. And this is the theory behind it. Now, Hadoop external tables and native external tables, they have the major difference. This only depends, which table to use only depends on your data source. So if your data source is like a CSV, Parquet, ORC, Hive RC, in that case, you can go ahead and create a Hadoop external table. But in case you have your normal CSV and Parquet file, in that case, you can go ahead and create your native external table. Also, Hadoop external tables, they work only in dedicated SQL pool. They are not available in serverless SQL pool right now. But when you talk about native external tables, they are available both in serverless SQL pool as well as dedicated SQL pool. So this is a major difference between both of them that we all need to be aware of. Because Hadoop ones we can only create in dedicated SQL pool for now, right? Also, when I said that you have your storage account, you have your Synapse, there should be one linking between them, right? There should be some connection. Now, even for authentication, for your Synapse to authenticate the storage account, right? There are different methods. So when you talk about Hadoop, you have your storage access key, your Azure Active Directory pass-through, your managed identity, right? But when you talk about native external table, you can use your SAS token, AAD pass-through, or your managed identity, right? So let's go ahead and see what we have next. But yeah, this is the major difference that you need to be aware of. Now, when you talk about external table, how do they help you? Where, what you can use them for, right? You can use them to query the data which is present in your storage account using T-SQL statements, which we are going to do today. You can use to store the results to a file in a data lake or a storage account. You can import the data from Azure Blob Storage and Azure Data Lake Storage and store it in a dedicated SQL pool as well. So we are going to do the first point today, and the other 2 points we are going to cover in the upcoming videos. Also, now, since I have explained you what we are trying to do, how it has to be done, an overview of it is that in the very first go, we are actually going to create an external data source. What is an external data source? External data source is nothing, but it is just a reference to your Azure storage. It will have the credentials. It will have the credentials to your Azure storage. And then you have to create an external file format. When I say external file format, you actually specify that what kind of data you are trying to read. Is it a CSV, it is a Parquet, or it is an ORC, right? You have to explain that. So for that, we create an external file format. And now to query the data, we actually create an external table on top of it. So now let's go ahead, move to the portal and see how we can do it. So guys, here I am in the portal, and I believe that you people are also all following with me. Now, so on the left hand side, if you go to the data tab over here and you click on the plus icon, let me zoom it. So if you click on the plus icon over here, you can actually see that there is an option to create a SQL database. But before that, I will actually show you what we have. So these are all the databases that we created in our past videos, right? So this is a dedicated SQL pool, and these are all Spark pools. So you can actually identify them from their icon itself. Now we do not have a serverless SQL pool database, right? So now let's go ahead and click on your SQL database over here, and now you will be prompted to select from the SQL pool type. Now I want to create a serverless one, so I'll keep it like that, and let's name our database as serverless DB. Let's go ahead and click on create. Now you will actually see that the serverless DB will get created on the left hand side. Now let me zoom it again. Now you can see that I have these list of DBs, right? And I have the serverless DB created, which I just created now, right? If I expand this, you can see it has an option of external tables, okay, so sorry, I think I should go back. I clicked the wrong icon. Now again going back to this data tab and zooming it. Okay, so now you can actually see that it has external table, external resources, view, schema, and security. And icon is also different, right? For serverless DB and for your dedicated pool. Now, if I open both of them, you can clearly see the difference. So the dedicated pool has tables inside it, but serverless DB does not have. So what does it indicate? It indicates that your serverless SQL pool will never have data inside it. You can use it to create external tables, your external resources, your views, but it can never hold your data. So to hold your data, you have to go and use the dedicated pool. So this is one of the major difference that I wanted to show you. Now, if you expand this external table, external resources, there's nothing inside it, right? Because we have not created anything. Now, just to make sure that your concepts are clear, now we have the serverless SQL pool database over here. Now you can see external data source over here. So what I explained earlier, that first we need to create external data source. External data source is nothing but just a pointer to your storage account which holds the credentials. Then you have external file format. Then you create external file format which specifies the file which you want to read, right? The data which you want to read. And then you have external table which you create to query the data. So all three you can actually see in this tree, right? So now let's go ahead and start to create the one. So now I have already copied the script to save the time. Now if you see on the top, you have to make sure that you are always connected. Since we are working with serverless right now, you have to make sure that you are connected to serverless SQL pool. I have explained this all in my previous video. And similarly, the database that we have created is serverless DB, right? So we need to make sure that we are just linked to the DB, that database that we have created, because once we run all of these, we will actually see that our external table is created inside serverless DB. So just to make sure, we have to keep it this way. And now the very first thing we need to do is we need to create a master key. Now when I say master key, it is nothing, it is just an encryption for your serverless DB. So you need to create it. Without creating it, if you'll directly go and do anything, it will actually throw an error to you. So you need to create a master key. This master key is basically, it will actually help to secure your credentials, to encrypt your credentials, right? So let's go ahead and run this. So I have kept a random password over here just to show you, and I have created the master key over here. So I'm using this database. I am actually creating a master key encryption by password over here. Now, since I explained that we need to have some connection between storage account, now actually I'll draw a line over here so that it's easier for you to understand. Okay, now since I have explained already that we need to establish some connection, right? And I have also explained that you have some authentication methods, right? And we are going to use shared access signature over here. So in case you are not aware what the SAS is, no need to worry. You just understand it is more or less like a storage account key, but not exactly storage account key. So it is just used for the authentication purpose. And basically you use SAS to give a secured access to anyone. So let's say I want to give you access, some access to my storage account, a selective access. In that case, I can actually generate a shared access signature which is created from storage account key, and I can give you this token which you can further use, and you will be able to have access to my storage account, but with the permissions that I give you. So I'll actually show you how we can do this. So I'll quickly go to the portal. Now I have these storage accounts, right? Now in this storage account, this is my external storage account which I'm trying to link, Bhavna 951. This I have been using in my previous video. So if you go and you click on the shared access signature over here, you can actually generate the token from here. You have an option, you can see allowed permission, read, write, delete, list, add, whatever permissions you want to give, and you have an expiry date and time. So you can set the expiry date and time over here, and then you can just click on generate SAS, right? And then you will be provided with one token which you can actually copy, right? So this is how, and the person who uses this token will have actually these set of permissions. So let's go back, and then you can please ignore these drop statements. So in case you do some mistake and you want to drop it, so these are the statements that you can use to drop the database, to drop the external data source or anything. Now create database scoped credentials. So what I'm trying to create over here, I'm trying to create a credentials that will be stored in this credential object that I create, right? Now I'll quickly go ahead and copy my shared access key and come back. So this is my SAS key, and I'll quickly go ahead and run this statement. So now I have created a set of credentials. Now, once I have created a set of credentials, and these credentials are actually encrypted, and these are basically secured by this master key which I have created above, and then I have to go and create an external data source. Now, what is this external data source? This is my storage account. I am actually providing the location, that what is my storage account. I'm providing the URI for my storage account, and then I'm providing the credentials. Now credentials to access this storage account. So what are these credentials? These credentials are same that I have saved in my credential object using the SAS token, right? So that is why this credential object is the same name as this one, right? And this is the location of my storage account. So I'll quickly go ahead and run this as well, and my external data source will be created. Now just to make sure that you all know that where you can fetch this location from, so now dfs.core.windows.net, this is something common, so this will be all common. And before that, it will be name for your ADLS Gen 2, so you can directly write it. Otherwise, you can also go to your storage account over here and you have an option of endpoints. Okay, so I don't want to show my endpoints over here, but in case like if you click on this endpoints, you will have an option of your storage account, and from there you can actually pick up this location. Now, once I have created external data source, now let's go back and check the serverless DB, whether my external data source is created or not. Let's refresh it first. So guys, now if you open it, you can actually see that the demo data source that we created has actually come up here, right? So now once we have created the connection, we know that we have to connect to the storage account. Now let's go ahead and create the the table and the file format. Now for the file format, you actually define, you can see the statement create external file format, right? I'm just defining the name of my file format, and then I'm defining the type of my file, so which is a Parquet file, and I'm defining the compression of my file, right? So let's go ahead and run this statement. The moment I run this statement, I can actually see the external file format in this place itself. So let's go ahead and refresh it. So now you can see this file format has been created. Now you have this file format which actually defines that what is the type of data that you are trying to read. Now you are going to create an external table. Now for this external table, I have this DDL over here. Let me bring it over the screen. Now what is there in this DDL? So you actually specify create external table NYC external table. So I'm using the same data set which I have been using in my previous video, New York taxi data set, and I had this Parquet file. I'll go back to my storage account. So this is the container that I'm trying to read. I have this nyc small .parquet file which I created as part of my previous video. So for that I have defined the metadata in this table definition, and I have provided the location where this file is located. So this file is located in container 1 and the name of the file is nyc trip small. And what is the data source? So data source I have created on the top, right? So we created this demo data source, right? So this is the same data source that I have mentioned here, and this is the file format, right? So f1 underscore file format which we created. Now you see the whole gist of this video. We are trying to create an external table. First we created demo data source for it, and we created file format. So what demo data source was? Demo data source defined basically what is my location, right? What is my storage account. It defined the credentials of my storage account, and it also defined the URL of my storage account. Now after that I had file format which basically defined what kind of data I am trying to read. Now let's go ahead and I'll actually run this. So now my query executed successfully. It means that my external table should have been created over here. Now you can see that I have this external table created under serverless SQL DB. So this is how you connect and you create your external table, and these are all the columns which I have defined. Now you can easily see that this external table does not hold any data. Now if I do select top 100 star from this table, it should actually fetch me data because it is an external table, and it will go back to the storage account and it will retrieve the data for me. So I am running the statement. So now guys, you can actually see that I have got the data. So this data we have got from the Parquet file. This data is not present inside this table, and we have got the data over here. So this is how you actually query the data from an external table. So there, apart from this, This was very elaborative explanation. Apart from that, also I would like to explain you one more thing, but before that, let me publish as in save it. I have explained the same thing in my previous video as well. Okay, so now if you go to the linked option on the left hand side, you can actually see the storage account, external storage account. I have linked it as well. So this linkage and all I have explained in my previous video. So if you go to the container one over here, it will actually show me the files which I have in the container one. So this is the same container which I have created as an external table. Now you can see that I have this file, right? So if you click on this file, you can click on this new SQL script, create an external table over here. You can do, I just wanted to show you that you have an option to do it through this as well. So now if you see on the right hand side, I have this option to select from the SQL pool, right? So I'm using serverless. So I'll click on the built-in pool and select a database. So I'll use my, let's say I use my current same database, serverless database, and let's name it as automated script, right? So if I and you have an option to do it automatically, or you can do it through SQL scripts as well. So let's do it through SQL script so that you all are very well aware of how it's happening. Now let's go and create it. So the moment you create it, you can actually see that a whole script has come in front of you. Now this script is auto generated by Synapse. So in this script you can actually see they have created an external file format, it has created a data source, and then it has created a table. So this table name is same that I provided, and then if you are going to run it, it will actually create your table. So this is also one option. I just wanted to make sure that you know this. So guys, this was what I wanted to discuss in my video. Do recommend, if you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section. If you want to make if you want me to make video on any other topic, do let me know in comment section, and make sure that you understand this video thoroughly. So thank you so much for being till here. Do remember to subscribe, like, and share my video. Thank you so much.